Alright. Hello, everybody. Meaning me, really. This is more for me right now. So, my plan for today, my goals for today, what do I want to do today? I'm gonna go to a couple more Goodwills today, or tonight, really. I plan on going for a nice short walk around noon up to the pond just to watch the water, feel the breeze, get outside, hang out there for a little bit. Maybe listen to music, maybe not. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I wish I had like a goal or something. You know what? That's something I should probably do. Um, Take pictures. Just take the pictures of the stuff I want to sell. At least some pictures. Try your best. I only have a camera on this phone that sucks, so. But they don't really need to have like the best pictures possible. It's not like Amazon. Or you want to have a good picture if I'm going to be selling it on something like Letgo or Craigslist or something. Craigslist kind of scares me, truthfully. Making my own website. It's called John List. Gets rid of all the weird stuff. It's really just like a meet and greet site where people go and you can sell stuff. Anybody want to come and do this? Like, well, isn't that basically the same as other stuff? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's why I'm not making that site. I don't think anybody should. It would be swamped. There are too many people. Too many different sites that are similar to that. Anyways, so what am I thinking? I'm thinking that I also need to take a shower after I go on that walk, so I'll be doing that. I'll listen to some music in the shower, you know. Yeah. Apparently, one of you is having issues with menopause, and I don't really have much information about that. Truthfully, like, I always can, yeah, let's put it this way. I never considered it because I was always young. It never crossed my mind, you know. But it can definitely get better over time, as they say. Um, Hormones do help. Stabilization of hormones. Um, it's something you have to discuss with your doctor, though, because it's a natural process, from what I understand. I already feel like I'm talking out of my ass when it comes down to it, because I'm not sure like how things get reactivated. I'm not sure why things do that. I'm not sure how to help with like the overall, because you're going down a roller coaster more than likely of different hormones go up and down pretty quickly. You probably get different like hot flashes, cold flashes, stuff like that, which is also caused by hormones and nerves and stuff. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky time. It's like going through puberty all over again. It's like I fucking was done with this shit. Why do I have to do it again? That's how I'd feel personally if I was a woman. I'd be like, so I have to deal with this again. I was good for like 20 years here. Like, what the fuck? You know? Yeah. That's definitely talk to your doctor. Try and find someone that's a little more open about that. I find women are usually better, you know. It's not that men don't have it, it's just that like you can be more comfortable and they're more willing to learn about themselves and stuff. Although there's always like Oh my goodness. Yeah. I make one comment about not trusting her and she wants to fucking send me everything. Ay. I know. That's the problem. She's passive aggressive when it comes down to that stuff. She doesn't think that it's. She just wants, oh, you need to be informed about everything. You said you didn't trust me, and I'm like, no. I said, yes, I did say I didn't trust you, but you don't need to, like, I see that they're shipping. I see that they're coming. I see all these things. I don't need her to constantly be doing that. It's very frustrating. Um, yeah. Make one comment, and then yeah. Anyways. Uh, where was I? Um, so hopefully, if you find the right doctor, hopefully they'll be able to point you in the right directions for you. I mean, there are blood tests. There's a lot of stuff out there that can be tested through blood or stuff like that. That isn't usually covered by insurance, but it's like if you've got the money, it's actually a really good test to do sometimes. And for people that don't have that money and they need that test, like it's shit because it could be over $1,000 or more for a certain thing, and they're not gonna pull that money out their ass, so they're having to pay it out of pocket. To do that, even if they're lucky enough, they might be able to do it in installments, but usually it's all one lump sum. And it's typically just to get a diagnosis. That way they can have their insurance finally cover certain things. That's usually what it is. Um, it's fucking dumb. I hate that so much. But yeah, there are a lot of tests that can be done and are coming up. So, would I do the Alzheimer's test? Yeah. I'm kind of concerned because a lot of my memory, a lot of stuff like that is terrible. Dementia does run in my family to a degree, and I'm pretty sure that my grandpa on my mother's side, because he has his type 2 diabetes, he's starting, like when I saw him, he seemed kind of out of it, lost, and then he'd talk and be like, yeah, and um, I think that he's in his 70s. He's actually eats pretty well. Big guy too. Uh, so it's one of those, and he doesn't look like out of shape, or at least the last when I saw him. I haven't seen him recently in the last few years here, and things can turn for the worse pretty quickly when it comes down to problems mentally. It's kind of shit, truthfully, how your body just turns against you. And it's not even your body, it's your mind. It's just one fucked up protein, one stupid fucked up protein, and it takes everything you are away from you. It takes everything from you. Yeah. You seem to be doing well. Like I would love to have the test. I do. I have to say that I would love to be able to have that either peace of mind or start treatment for it and preventative measures for it early. So that way I can increase the quality of life until I'm gone, you know. Um, because that's all I get. There's no cure for that thing. I could fucking take every ounce of blood out of me. Literally everything. Squeeze my body, pop out some more blood from the cells, take that too, and put in brand new blood from someone else that's young and blood transplant from some heroin OD person or something, but they don't have any history of Alzheimer's, they don't have anything, and it was all cooled and everything was fine with that blood. And I still bet you that person or would still end up getting the problematic proteins again. You know, like at best it might save you if you do it like every year. It might give you a few years, you know, um, because it's not really scrubbing out the protein. It's not really doing anything. And technically, you're dying on a table to do this every time. So, you know, eventually that puts strain on you. So eventually that won't help. You know, eventually that you won't wake up. But then you go, well, what's the risk factor versus reward factor of having the possibility of feeling young again and having the correct hormones and all of that, and whatever else could be entailed for a blood transplant, like a complete whole blood transplant. Um, Somehow scrub it through your mind, do whatever, like flush your body out with some fluid to get out whatever else might be there, captures everything, and then you put in the new blood. And even then, that, you know, like it's so back to the risk and reward. Um, you know, like a person that's facing that doom, you know, that devastation of their mind, the slow, terrible um, decline is you know, slowly losing everything you are, you know, until you're just alive, a husk. Sometimes you become lucid. If you're lucky, they might just feel happy when you're lucid, but more than likely you feel the crushing weight of reality come in and you want to escape back into that zone where you don't know and you're not aware of how much you've lost. So, do you want to die on an operating table? Or do you want to die while still being alive? That's the question. Would it work? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think it's ever been done before. It's not a prescribed treatment. It's all off-label. You'd have to have doctors, you have to have nurses, you have to have all of this stuff. You have to have a person whose entire blood, like you could take mine and fucking do the whole like stem cell, create a whole shit ton of it and do that if you wanted. You could do any, like that's the thing though, like the point is to be as pure and as full of every good part, proteins and everything else that is good and useful, right? But I still think that even if you flush everything out, even if you did all that, it wouldn't stop it from reoccurring. There's a mechanism of action that's causing those proteins to become misfolded like that. Somewhere in your body, something is causing that, so that has to be fixed for it to truly go away. So at best, it would be a placeholder that would still slowly, it would be an even slower version of the progression. It would be most likely incredibly useful for people that are on the extreme end, meaning they decline quickly. Yeah, I would do it. Like, it would provide, like, if I had the money, the time, like, everything, I would test it out on some rats or, you know, monkeys and, you know, do that. Or if I literally didn't even have the time, I might actually just be part of the trials for it. But yeah, it's possible that it could help. But you know, it's just slowing it down. That with, you know, you're also having to realize that you will have to eat properly. You will have to diet and exercise and take your supplements. And then because all that stuff that's good, that's in your blood, that builds up over time, well, it's gone now. Yeah, you just got brand new blood. There's nothing that you just ate. There's nothing, like, there's none of that already in there, so you have to get it there. So technically, if you wanted it in the blood, you could insert like the medications and the protein enzymes, whatever else that you needed to try and help reduce that overall time to having these supplements take effect and everything. Possibly, I mean, this is all really expensive. Like, we're already talking about an over $1 million thing, well over $1 million just for one procedure here. Like, that's insane. You know what I mean? Like, and at best it would be once a year. Like, you'd have to do it and have to prepare everything, and it would probably take a few years if you were to try and grow your own blood or somebody else's. You know, it's not like you can just, you know, have a heroin patient, you know, like, yes, they might be donators, but blood isn't on the menu for donation. Does that make sense? That's not what gets donated. So yeah, you know, that's like, do you do your own blood? Do you want to have that DNA? Do you do someone else's blood? Do you, like, what, like, is it, do you do your own, but you just use like CRISPR, for instance, and you know, genetically modify it so that way you're more resistant to things? Like, what do you do? Like, you got to consider all the possibilities, like, and put forth all efforts. If this is going to be expensive as shit, you might as well put everything in it to make it work, you know, at that point, I think. It has the possibility of prolonging life and possibly the quality of that life for that individual. Doctors wouldn't know what the fuck the reasons for it working are, but there's a lot of stuff that doctors don't know the reasons for it, why it works. But it does, and they still prescribe it. So you got to weigh that, and you got to remember, this is probably going to be expensive as all hell, you know. So if you're going to do this, you might as well market it to other people that, you know, have some similar issues and want a similar treatment, so that way you might be able to recuperate some of your money from it. Because it's you know, there's going to be research, there's going to be this, there's going to be that, that needs to be done, and quite frankly, if we're getting real here, the research might actually need to be done straight to humans, in which case you're bypassing a lot, and I do mean a lot, of scientific standards, which just to bring it to market faster. And that irks me. You know, don't fucking do that. Like, granted, people have their own lives. They're willing to try things if you offer them this, but they need to be informed. They need to make it clear that we have no idea that what will happen. It's possible that it could be good, but it's also possible that you might not wake up ever again. And even if you do, there might be unintended side effects that could be both either good or bad. We really don't know. You know? Look at this guy, he's just coming up with the cure for Alzheimer's here. It's like, no. It's not a cure. It's not going to cure things. The protein still got misfolded. There's somewhere. Like I said, there's a mechanism of action here that needs to be looked at and fixed. And the problem is that mechanism of action isn't in any one location. It isn't in this particular organ. It isn't in this. It can just happen to various stressors, and if you have the certain genetics that play a role in that, then we don't really know what causes those issues. It could happen anywhere in the body. We don't know. We know that this happens, we just don't know why, we don't know how, where, how much, what roles the genes play, what roles they don't play. There's a lot of information we don't have about this disease. Because it's so tough to study. It just really is tough to study. And people that Sad part is that when people also like the younger the kids, hopefully, or whoever their caregiver is, gets into the mind that I don't want them used for experiments. I don't want them, hurt anymore. And that's, completely understandable, truthfully. Yes, it would be great for science, but, you don't want to put somebody through something that they don't want to be put through or not comfortable with, and you have to respect the caregiver or child or whoever's decision, because ultimately they're the ones that make that decision, and hopefully they understand they need to make it with the understanding that you now have this person's life, quality of life in their hands, and that's a huge burden. And oftentimes I feel like they get pushed to the side because they don't want to think too much about it. They don't want to, they're already dealing with their own life. So I can't, put the ability or put forth the effort to, constantly think about this other individual. And quite rightly, they shouldn't have to, because they have their own life and, they have to live it too. And so it's complicated. I would love to be able to explain to them in a much more controlled manner, in a way that doesn't make it seem like we're just trying to, really get rid of the, we're not trying to ply them full of test tubes and make them uncomfortable all the time and stuff like that. We're doing this because there's a possibility that it could really help, and if a lot of individuals, not just your dad or mother or you, but everyone. Because if we could, everyone that has this issue, if it's possible that it does work, if it's possible that your father or mother is able to get this help, right? It might be that the trial really helps. But again, we don't know. And so it is up to you. Is the quality of their life right now so great that they can't, would you not? I know for me personally, if I was sliding down, I want to try anything to help. I would. Anything and everything. Up to, if I'm already dead inside, if I'm already gone, basically, mentally, I have it in my will. I wrote a will while I was in one of the mental health facilities because I thought I was going to die, so I needed a will. And I basically said, if I'm in a coma, experiment the fuck out of me. I don't care. Seriously, give me psilocybin, give me experiment on me so I can get out of that coma, fix myself, and get better. Because no matter what, I always want to have the option to keep trying. Does that make sense? I never want to have the option of just stopping, I never stop trying. I might not get to where I need to be, but I won't let myself go so far down that I won't stop trying. And what I mean by that is, at the very least, I go to sleep on my bed, I wake up on my bed. I'm still alive. There's still the possibility of a better future. That's how I look at it. That's hope for me. That's my personal kind of mantra, almost, or optimistic view. It's like, I'm still alive. Fucking sucks ass that I'm alive right now, but god damn it, I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And if I keep at this shit, I will get better. I hope. And if I don't, it doesn't matter, because I'll fucking figure it out, and I'll fucking do every goddamn thing I possibly fucking can until I rule this world. Okay, maybe not rule the world, but, the sentiments there. So for me, yes. If I had it, I would definitely try anything and everything I could do. But it'd be expensive, and it would have to be pioneered by these rather wealthy individuals first. That's the only way that it would happen. There's no pharmaceutical company that will help. There's no governmental subsidies. There's, ultimately it's down to trying to get it funded by wealthy individuals and individuals that just so happen to want to try and help. To them, I'm like, they just need like, typically, if you were to be involved in a medical research experimentation like that, you'd get paid. In this case, because of the complexity of everything, the overall cost of everything, the fact that it's so preliminary and is being funded by whoever, like, it's like going to be more of a, we're not going to bill you for anything. We're not going to do anything. This is just all costs are going to be taken by us. That's kind of how that has to work. Because you won't get anybody outside of wealthy individuals that can do it. Now, they will have to pay. Okay, it has to be funded some way. It can't just be all you. And I understand that that's a crock of shit to some of you, but if you want the research to be done, you want the treatment, you want all this stuff, you have to get it done some way. And you guys have the ability to pay, they don't, but we still need their minds and bodies in this to make it so that way we have enough data. You need at least 10 people that, in one control. What about blood? That's the expensive part. That's the really troubling issue, is like, we can make a large amount of blood. It just takes a shit ton of time and stem cells and all this sort of thing, and it's expensive too. It's like a couple $100,000 to do a few liters, I think. It's, wow, I have to pee so fucking bad, but I'm going to keep talking. So it's possible to get this funded. It's possible that it does work to a degree, but it's not, a cure is what we're selling here. It's a possible new treatment. Not a cure, a possible new treatment. Which is, something that sometimes people wish for, and sometimes people just give up. It's really determined by individuals. So, you'd have to look at every angle of it, not just proteins. Like, that's the thing, like, are you going to just make it just blood, just straight blood and nothing else? Are you going to add in proteins, enzymes, nutrition, like everything else from like a younger individual or a younger, better you? Like, what are you going to add here? What's going to happen? Because that determines a lot too. There's also the possibility that if you do it wrong, you could introduce more problematic protein folding. Because you're not, doing it in such a way. Ultimately, you are, even if you cool the body down and flush everything out, and do all that, there's still the possibility that proteins will get misfolded during the process, I think. So how do you minimize that risk? Like, you gotta look into that. How do you minimize the risk of death besides just cooling, Like, I know you could restart the heart and all of that, but when we're talking about individuals that have been damaged to this point, the heart starts, not wanting to get restarted. Things don't want to go again. because of all the damage. So how do you like minimize the risk of death upon operation table? How do you minimize these things? Is it possible to do it soon? No. You need to take this slow. I understand that like you're getting excited and you want to do it, but you need to calm down just a little bit. Okay? There's a lot that needs to be discussed. There's a lot that needs to be figured out. There's a lot of experiments that definitely should be done ahead of time. Rats, maybe a few monkeys, or brain organoids, if that's what we can do. Like just try and get a good amount of data that shows that it could possibly help before you decide to go ahead and do it onto human beings. Okay? This might be a small startup for wealthy individuals that are trying to, get this new treatment, but it definitely needs to be backed up with some good science. Otherwise, it's just taking people's money. That's all it is, and giving them false hope. If you're just going to immediately do this, just don't do that way. You need to do a little bit of experimentation, a little bit of finding and figuring out. Which, do you add medications? Do you add certain nutrients? Do you add like certain supplement things, compounds that were either direct or the metabolized version from your liver? Like what version is the good version? Like you got to figure these things out if you are going to do that. And plus that always puts more variables in. Like if you start adding supplements and medication and enzymes and other proteins and all this stuff, that introduces more variables. It does introduce the possibility of like helping out. So that's one of those things where like if you're going to do it as an experiment on people, you do, yes, one person gets the whole shebang, and then you got your control who gets nothing. Just like they're on the operating table and they're off. They just seeing if like filtering their blood of all proteins or something like that, which is really hard to do because proteins are smaller than blood, so you'd really be filtering out all blood cells, and you'd have to figure out how to make it so. But anyways, so the control would basically be, you do the procedure, but you use the patient's blood again. You just filter it, and get rid of whatever proteins, anything that you can get rid of, and just give them back what they have, minus whatever is bad. Then for the other like individuals, it's like tiers. Like now we just added these enzymes. This guy, enzymes and proteins. This guy, enzymes, proteins, medication. This one, and so on. Like you do it in tiers until so that way you can hopefully that small sample size you can see whether or not there is a significant difference between everything, and if it's just a speed up of recovery, or if it's the longevity of recovery, or like what goes on, and whether or not just the basic simple one even has an effect, even if the control, technically the control should be nothing, no variables, you did absolutely nothing, but we already know what doing nothing is going to do. Does that make sense? Like, you do nothing, you don't take your medicine, you leave that person with Alzheimer's alone, they're still going to progress the same way they were. You could give them a placebo, but we already kind of know the likelihood of what a placebo will do. So, that's cutting down some cost, but you need a control. You need the placeholder. So yes, give them a pill for placebo, that, but truthfully, I don't really think that that's even necessary. Yeah. So that would be my first way to trial it. You could be in the trial, you would be the one that gets everything and all of that, or you can be one of the people that sits back and waits. And that's even if it gets to that point, you still have to check the rat, the brain organoids, whatever you decide to experiment on with this um, going down. Like you have to see that it does help before you decide to, you know, try and do that. So I'm setting up the possibility of like, hey, if it does work, you can do it this way. But before you start getting your hopes up, look at the data first. It's possible that it could help, but it's also possible it might hurt. It's possible that it might do nothing. So it's my 2 cents on it. What else am I thinking about? It is just about time for me to go on this walk. So I'll leave myself with the thought of, if you could do any trial for like any disease, what would it be? Or not do any trial, but create a like research on any particular like Alzheimer's or CTE or whatever it is, brain injury, body, whatever. If you could run an experiment, what would it be? I think it's an interesting question because like I think about like a lot of that stuff. I don't really know what I would personally, above all else, think is the one to go with. There's so many different things, but I think that if you were to ask that on Reddit or somewhere else, you would get a good amount of answers towards where we can start funding research for these various problems people have. And that could be extremely important in the future. It's also possible that there are going to be people that, joke or come up with really bad ideas. But, you weed through the good and the bad, and that's life. Not everybody is able to come up with amazing ideas on everything. It's just how that works. Oh, I'm just listening in on what you're talking about. Anyways, what time is it? I still got roughly 10 minutes, so I'll talk while I get ready. Yeah. Get my shoes. Besides Alzheimer's, what would you do? I'd like to go with the gut. There's a lot of stuff about the gut we don't know about, like how much it really affects. Like there's the whole brain-body connection. I'd love to suss that out a little bit more. There are too many neuroscientists and too many other scientists that don't really seem to get the connection between. It could be that I just am very connected and therefore I have a stronger of that, and I believe there is one, and it just might be that I'm a bit of an outlier, but I believe everybody has that connection. It's just, we don't know a lot about it. I'd love to somehow be able to do that, Yeah. So, Is it possible to do that? Well, I mean, what do you mean? That's the thing, right? Like, because like we understand the nerves, we got all that, but like, how is it? Like, how does our gut microbiome? Because quite frankly, our brain does not have bacteria in it, but our gut does, and our gut and body has a lot of neurological stuff going on. You know, it has neurons, it has nerves, it has glials, it has all these things. How does the how did the body evolve to work together with those things? How did the symbiosis happen? You know, because obviously there was a point where, you know, as we were evolving, it became more and more important, I think. Because if you look, our brains developed more rapidly, our bodies became more coordinated and controlled. You know, we became less we became more resilient back in the day. To diseases and other environmental stress factors, much more so than we are now. If you think about it. So, like, how does that work, right? So, like, how did the symbiosis, what happened, and then what's happening now that's causing all of these disturbances in our gut biome and our microbiome in our body that to happen that causes all these issues, you know? Like, it's kind of strange if you ask me. I have to pause this. I need to pee again. Alright, so, I've been doing some thinking. You know how I do. I like to think while I walk. It was a little harsh. It's like, but I'm setting a boundary. Alright, that means you don't get to talk to me a certain way just because you're upset with me. Okay, I'm not doing anything to you. Alright, I don't deserve to be talked to that way. Alright, you might think you're the baddest damn bitch ever, but you need to calm your ego a little bit, okay? Nothing wrong with thinking you're amazing and all of that, but you're telling me off, and I'm not gonna take that. Simple as that. You know, just not gonna deal with it, and I will listen to you less and less if you continue to do that. I will not help you anymore if you continue to do and break past my boundaries. Do what you're doing and break past my boundaries. Alright? It's a hard limit. You're still here. You can still listen. I can't control that. But I don't have to listen to you. Certainly don't need your negative energy affecting me when I'm having a nice positive day. Okay? I understand you're going through your own hell. Just don't take it out on me. That's all I ask of you. Also, you're not being real. You're using your ego to deflect against, like, actual stuff. So it feels like you're not actually talking about any of the real stuff that's really got to you. Yeah. Which is kind of hard to do, I admit, with, you know, only having music and whatnot. But still, you know. I'm glad that you found your hash pipe. I'm glad that you've figured yourself out on that end. Got your medication going and all that. But I am not going to be privy to that. You gotta watch out, because cannabis can make you feel good again, but it's not gonna fix you. You can fall into the trap of, I need this to function and all that, and while that can be the case, it's troublesome, you know. Remember, that is a drug that is affecting your reason and judgment. Use it carefully, you know? It's all fine and good, but when we're talking about real stuff, when we're talking about trying to do these things and be more realistic and actually discuss real matters at hand, it brings too much levity to the situation. And it can inflate people's ego. That's why cannabis, to me, is not necessarily the best tool for therapy, because you can get wrapped up into your head that this is the way things are. You know, psychedelics break down the ego. You don't get the chance to have that ego, you know. But anyways, I'm not cutting you out, but you don't get to talk to me like that. I'll listen to you a few more times, but we'll see how this goes. Because, quite frankly, I'm thinking about just getting rid of the R conversations until you can get better. I might give a time limit. I might literally, if you continue to do it, I will literally put a time limit. Like, I'm not going to listen to you for X amount of days or months. And I'll come back. If you have something to say, I'll listen. You know, you're on thin ground here. You fucked with my body. You did a lot of things. You keep saying, oh, I'm not sorry. I'm like, you should be. It's, okay, that's using the word should. It would be correct to feel, in my opinion, a little bit of remorse for what you did and were going to do. Alright? There's nothing wrong with that. Going to do. She knew of the fucking glitch. She did it on purpose. Yes, you did. You know damn well you did. So what if I did? I have every right. Yeah, no. You don't get to play with people's lives like that. You have no rights in this regard. Nobody does. You need to check yourself. Alright? Just a little bit. Calm your tits. It's like, oh, but you were talking to her. And it's like, I'm allowed to talk to other people. I'm allowed to get their feelings. I'm allowed to have good, positive energy from other people. You continue to ruminate, try and control, and so on. And quite frankly, I think you need a real person to talk to. Not me. A real therapist that you go to. A real person that you can bounce off ideas and trying, to actually succeed in some of these things. I don't need it. I'm fucking functioning. Can't you see I'm doing all this stuff? And I'm like, your intentions are becoming evil. They're not good anymore. And you're trying to justify those intentions by your feelings, not by logic and reasoning, by your feelings. Okay? And when we're talking about stuff like this, no, that's not healthy, that's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Alright? So, what would I say to you? I would say, look, I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm glad that you're, doing a little better than you were yesterday. Alright? But you don't get to tell me off. Alright? You don't get to try and bring me down or any of that. I simply don't need to listen to you if you're going to do that. If you want the help, I will help. But you need to realize that this is the situation, even if you don't like it. This is the situation. Alright? I'm doing my best to change it. I know you're doing your best to change it. Shit's going down. That's how life is. It might suck, but life gets better. And what you're doing right now is you're causing more issues. Alright? That's all you're doing. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping me. You're not doing anything to help anybody. Alright? So, I'm going to say this. She injected me with blood that I have no idea whose it is, and it could very well have those protein problems. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to start telling them about some of the real shit that you fucking did. Uh-huh. Because I need fucking help. Yeah. In fact, I'd rather that you go and explain to them how much you fucking did. Because I don't even know everything. I know there was injected with blood and something else. Alright? That's not cool. At all. I know that they gave me some form of cancer. You know that. Nah, I have the feeling that there's a possibility that they tried to inject me with something to be able to... Yeah. Why? Why? Because we were having a fight, and apparently that was enough to do that. Yeah. To inject me with fucking shit like that. So yeah, I definitely do have something going on in either my blood or my brain or whatever. And she cut nerves, she destroyed things in my back. You know, quite frankly, she says she's not sorry. So, kind of fuck you. Really. Seriously. I know you don't care or pretend that you don't care. But, you do. And these words hurt. Okay? I know they do. But what you did was wrong, and you need to own up to it before you can start healing. Actually healing, not placeholder healing, where you use a drug to compensate for your shitty mood and everything else. Alright? There's nothing wrong with using it to help you get better, but ultimately it is not the cure. You still have to work on your brain. You still have to work on your mind. Okay? Because trust me when I say this, the drugs stop working after enough time. And you need more. You need this, and you need that, and it's just a steamroll. There's nothing wrong with using it properly. Alright? Just be careful. I would implore you to be careful. I'm seeing a lot of screaming and tearing up the room and stuff while I'm trying to talk to her. Who knows, maybe she'll actually hear the words. My guess is no, because she's currently going off in a mood. Just because you have on speakerphone doesn't mean you're listening. Come on. Deep breaths, please. Sit down. Do some breathing. Lay down if you have to. Do some good breathing. Try and calm down. Alright. I don't care how good you feel. Alright. Just take a moment and take a breath. Don't do what I tell you. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm suggesting. Okay, you're right. I suggest you sit down, and I suggest that you take a breath. Okay? Just take a breather. Come back to this. Try and think why I might be saying these things. It's not to hurt you. It's not to think that you're so bad. Try and see it from my perspective. Take a second. Use the marijuana appropriately. Go away if you can. Sit down or lay down. Do some basic breathing exercises. Meditate for a little bit. Try and think of it from my side of things. Okay? If you do this, hopefully it will help. You know? And come back. Alright? Until then, I'm not going to be listening to any of your music. Alright? You get to be on your own for the rest of the day. Yeah, the rest of the day. That's exactly what I just said. Alright? You can listen all you want to me. But I will not listen to you. Alright? Taking the grunting for okay. Alright. Alright. Whew. Man, I'm tired. Today was not the most amazing of days, but it was okay enough. Some old stuff came about. Put me in a right terrible mood. Got me all paranoid. Truth be told, yeah, I probably do have the beginnings of Alzheimer's. The very fact that lion's mane mushroom helped me out so significantly as it did and almost so quickly as it was points to a rather significant, link to something hurting my nerves in my brain. Yeah. What's up with your stomach and your body? I might have given myself streptococcus because of my spit. And then I used the whole crock pot method and stuff with the coffee. Yeah, it probably wasn't a good thing. At all. And that's probably why I'm still having the muscle tremors and all the other stuff going on in my stomach. You just love experimenting with bacteria on yourself, don't you? You never know, I think. I think most people who'd be going through this would probably more than likely have been doubled over in pain and all this sort of thing. The fact that, with whatever supplements I was taking and everything else, that if I did have streptococcus or anthrax or whatever ended up in there from my spit or from the air, whatever it was, it ultimately didn't cause so significant of an issue, Meaning the overall effectiveness of the pathogen was reduced. Yeah. You say you were getting better. I am tired and I really want some cannabis and maybe some fucking shrooms. I've never tried shrooms. But yeah, I definitely would. Today would be a nice cannabis night. Just relax. It's the fucking middle of the damn week. I'm gonna go donate some blood, which they're probably gonna use to test a whole bunch of shit. Or give it to somebody and then I give them Alzheimer's because of my shit. What? How does that work? Does anybody know? You just immediately assume you have no tests. You are correct. That is exactly what's happening, and I'm letting my fear run away from me. However, the only tests that are done aren't until it's way too fucking late. And the tests that can be done earlier are not covered by insurance. And only 90% effective. 90% is good, and I would definitely do that. Like a 10% failure rate possibility is pretty low. It's not very low, but it's pretty low. I would much prefer 99% because I know it seems like, oh, that doesn't seem that much of a difference. It's a significant statistical difference. And the 0.9% after it is even more of a statistical difference. Okay? Like, work on that, Being 100% accurate is impossible, but getting damn as close as possible is the best one could do. Still though, I'd take the test, see what's going on. What tests are you talking about? There are like certain blood tests that are now 90% effective in determining whether or not you have certain things that are basically they'll tell you like how good your chances are of having Alzheimer's or having it occur to you. Not just like I'm phrasing it wrong. It's the test to see if you. Why? Because technically, it doesn't matter. Point is, it's a test for Alzheimer's. That's the point. The point is, you take the test. It could tell you whether or not. It's only 90% effective. You're like, only 90? I'm like, yeah, that's a lot, but it's not that much. So yeah, I would definitely take it. Take the test. It's experimental, not covered by insurance. It would be great if I was a scientist or knew a bunch of scientist friends that could experiment upon me. That'd be nice. You tried to buy it. Well, the Indel shop had a Alzheimer's drug being sold on it that was being in phase 3 of trials. So, yeah, I figured, it's possible. That's the problem with patented things, Certain diseases, I think, it should never be patented. It should always be for the people. Like, you make this money, alright, well, think about it this way. You're putting money into the worker. The worker gets better. They can do their job. They function in society. They help others. They're no longer stressed. It's just a build-up. It's not just, oh, well, I didn't get the money. It's like, no. You got something better than money. You have a better world as a result of doing that. The fact that you're looking for profit, you're looking for them in the wrong place. All right, this is to get workers to become functioning into society, meaning they're able to pay, they're able to work, they're able to do things. So if you're business minded, then you should be diversifying your business. This is just to help. That's all it is. So you have another business over here that's basically, something to do with helping these patients out in recovery. Then you have a business where, you sell XYZ to them basically. Because, they're feeling better, they have this thing, they need these supplements, they need this workout stuff, whatever it is. Sell them that. You're now making money. If you want to look at in cold, harsh terms, as harsh and cold as possible, making them better can mean you get more money out of them in the long term. That's as cold and callous as I can make it. That's not necessarily what you're doing. That's a byproduct, possibility. The reality is that this person's good, they're able to do all this stuff, and all, like I was mentioning earlier. But the person that can't get that will only see the numbers, and so I kind of phrase it that way because I think they'll understand it a little better, or maybe be more apt to listen to it. Doesn't necessarily mean I agree. It's not really the case. Plus, multi-level corporations, you'd be surprised. Like, for instance, Costco, Kirkland. You know? I'm not saying Costco's actually all that bad. It's just, you'd be surprised. So imagine, if you will, they suddenly started funding research, and then this research led them to need these particular supplements in this particular way, or these types of shoes, this workout clothes, they need this specialty equipment to make food a certain way, whatever it is. You're there. You funded to get them better. You now have the funding by your own damn self to recuperate what you just put into it. It would take a lot longer, and you would only be helping people, and more than likely it'd be several generations down the line. Possibly. It depends on how big of a market you're willing to go for. Like, how many people do you help? How big of a craze? Do you cure it and be able to basically say, look, you guys are done. It's good. You know? I say go for the cure. You cure people, you know, people are more happy, they spend more, they try and do more for the economy, they try and do more for their fellow man and woman and whoever. And that's ultimately better for everybody and you than just trying to milk their asses off for treatment. You know. But what we have is treatment. So, yeah, I would definitely take the thing. I would definitely also take whatever the other preventative medication for those who do get diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's, which, by the way, can happen for some of us apparently much, much younger than others. I have no idea what the fuck they injected me with. I have no idea, okay? Everybody wants to know. I have no idea, okay? What am I thinking about? Well, the web camera, you know, it's on and people are watching and you're listening and other things are happening outside and stuff like that. What else? I'm concerned about the whole, because like I gave myself 5 years, right? And I didn't know why. And now I'm kind of starting to suspect why. So I want to change that path. I want to get rid of that future. I want to exist, even if it's one more extra year. That, you know, if I can still be functioning, I'll fucking take it. You know? Because it's one more extra year that I get to have. I don't know what fuckface McCuntface did when she injected me with whatever. Which, by the way, you don't like the name calling? It was a fucked up thing you did. You're going to have to own up to that. I won't name call you after this, but you're going to have to deal with the first one. You deserve it. There's a lot of people that are trying to go after her. Remember what I said about making it so people decompartmentalize? You just slowly, but always have them be annoyed. That is literally the most I would be willing to let anybody do. It is not up to me to say, you know, because I don't control your actions. But if I could somehow direct you, if you were going to do something very rash, very irresponsible, and harm this person because of your feelings of what they did towards me, I would like it preferably if you were to constructively use that anger in another way. Okay? No, I don't trust her, but I'm trying to help her out. Okay? No, I don't think that we're going to be meant to be together or anything like that. At all. Which that might devastate her, but hey, you know what? Yeah, there's always the possibility if we ever do meet and all these sorts of things. I'll give her that because I don't know. However, as this stands right now, no is the answer to that question. I have other prospects that are far more less destructive to me. I'm not necessarily friends with her either. I'm more or less a counselor or a person trying to stop her from killing herself. That's not your burden. Unfortunately it is. I have an obligation to this person. Yes, I do. Why? Because I created the mess. I created that mess. So, just because I'm doing better does not necessarily mean I don't want to see all the pain that I've caused continue forward. So I would like to be able to help her out and be able to get her to be better. Does she feel any remorse towards anything? Not really. She's more blank right now. That's the general impression I get from her. Which is a dangerous place to be in because you'll do almost anything to get some sort of emotion. It can be good or bad. Oftentimes it goes bad. I don't know where she's going. I don't know what she's doing. Don't really give a shit right now. Personally, and that might be harsh, but I'll talk to her in the morning. I'll listen to her after that, and I'll see what's up. We'll see what happens. Outside of that, no. Yeah. You know what the funny part is that you guys weren't. I wasn't recording, so I felt this warm love. I felt this warm, powerful love and energy from somebody being directed towards me, and that made my fucking day. Swear to God, whoever that person was, thank you tremendously. You helped me through a very tough day with that, okay? You did. So yes. Yes, she intended to cause mayhem. I don't think she realized quite how far-reaching the consequences of her actions were, which is typical of teenagers and young women and men. Takes a while. It's like, I'm no longer young. I'm 27. I'm no longer young, technically. My body is on the, I went, whoop, and now we're going down this way. Yep, 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 yep. I'm still technically at the top, but we are going down. There's no longer the upslope anymore. And so I'd like absolutely every possibility. So yes, I'll be brushing my teeth more. Clearly, I need to do that. I don't want any gingivitis. I have mostly been just doing like toothpaste, but now I'll do the mouthwash, toothpaste, the whole shebang. Brush before I go to bed, get in the morning, stuff like that. Need to be more prompt about it. And, it's just, yeah, one of those things. You don't have good oral hygiene. No, it's not that I don't have good oral hygiene per se. I mean, it's not great. But, it's not like my breath be stinky like hell, So, there's that. Like, how do you know? It's like, I can taste my breath just by breathing in my own nose, Like, I don't know about other people, but It's really not that hard. And then there's the whole like lick the back of your hand and sniff it a few seconds later. Um, yeah. Um, but anyways, it's not like it's needed. I definitely do need to make sure I don't get any gingivitis or anything. So what are you thinking? I'm thinking that uh, if it is going to be in a supplement, then I'm going to have to make sure, absolutely sure, that it is like being done that one way. Like if I take these supplements in this way, like um, for instance, my probiotic that I just got, it's one capsule a day. That's it. In the morning. That's it. Right? Um, for 30 days. If it's going to be something like that, I'd like to try that. I actually do feel better. Like I have started to feel some of the supplements come in already. It's not significant. Like the Pygum tree bark powder seems to have some changes. The um, the lion's mane mushroom seems to have some changes too. Like I can like it's weird. It reminds me back in 2017 when my gut and my brain were very connected, and like I would eat something and then I would literally feel it go throughout the rest of my body. Such as like I would drink. Let's just say coffee. I drink coffee with my cannabis oil, like I have been doing recently, and it would like at first I'd feel the heat, and then I'd feel like the energy. Like I'd first feel like my actual stomach get affected by the caffeine just right there. Like the slight constricting, the slight increase in blood pressure, the slightly increased blood flow rate until it gets into my stomach and then or my upper intestine and um, starts to absorb somewhat there, and I just like I can feel it as it's moving through my gut. I really can. Um, so I'm starting to feel some of the effects. Now, the Pygum tree bark powder does have some side effects, such as the possibility of creating headaches for certain people. I saw that anecdotally. It might be that because I just started, I'm getting some headaches currently as a result of everything. It's a distinct possibility. I'm taking 4 of those a day, 2 in the morning, 2 throughout the day. Standard treatment. It's like I do the same thing for my sunflower lectin. Um, Technically, you can get away with less, but that just is sort of like, yeah, my go-to. But that's subject to change, as I often sometimes do like higher doses in the beginning and then drop it down later. Um, Sometimes I'll do smaller doses and build up. Uh, but it depends. Depends. What are you thinking about? I don't really have. Fuck my head. I don't really have much to talk about. I really just kind of want to like. So they're apparently. If I'm remembering this correctly, there's an individual that's coming over. We're gonna get married, and then they're gonna go whisk me off to some sort of vacation for a while, and then I'm coming back. Which is that's what I think that comment that sounded like it was a stroke was about. It was a translated version of what they were talking about. I'm getting a lot of confirmations in my head. I didn't know you actually reminded me by making that comment. Literally didn't even remember until that point. What's going on? The deal, apparently. You're gonna have to talk to them about that, because I technically don't even remember what the deal was anymore. I have a vague recollection, very vague recollection of that deal, truthfully. I remember some parts of it. I know it was open to interpretation. I know there's some things that were hit or miss, depending on certain things. But yes. What am I thinking about? Mostly, um, if it's real, quite frankly, yeah. That's really what I'm like, nah, ain't nobody like that shit. That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's not real. That's my thoughts. Like, it's just so out of my depth that I literally have significant disbelief in the idea that that's even real. So until it happens, I'm gonna be a little incredulous, meaning disbelieving. You know, and I still have to get out and do my own thing, so it's not like that's gonna change anytime soon. Yeah. And I honestly don't know when or what or how or if any of this stuff. Don't really know any of it. Don't take the deal. The deal's a scam. They're the ones that were hurting you. They're some of the ones that were hurting me. Let's be frank here. There were certain individuals that decided to take it upon themselves to think it was fine to inject me with certain things, or to cut nerves, or to whatever it was. You know, quite frankly, everybody played a role in the whole thing. Almost everybody. There were some of you that were really, you guys are just so fucking, like, you are super, like, there's someone out there that just wants to give absolutely everything, and anything I say or do seems to hurt her, and I'm like, no, I'm not trying to direct it at you, it's just this one particular individual is just driving me mad, like, I just cannot sometimes. It's not you. I'm not directing it at you. You're incredibly nice. And what can I say? I'm a sucker for women that just are like that. But still somehow challenge my thoughts. It's very weird, don't you think? It's like in the right ways, they're just, loving, subservient, and all this sort of whatever. But then, of course, they call you on your bullshit when you're just fucking ego, and all that. So that way you have the balance, like both parties get what they need, because that's what a relationship's about. Everybody has needs and wants, and they need to. Okay, so I'm gonna rewind, kind of divert here. Men and women, but men. It is not an affront to your fucking sexuality or manhood to talk to your woman about having proper intercourse, meaning you ask them what it is they like, and if they need to touch their clit, fucking let them. That's not a fucking cold maneuver at all. I don't understand that fucking post, and it pisses me off. You stupid cunts. Okay? Talk. Discuss. It doesn't matter how awkward it is. Both parties want to engage and have something fun. If you only want to have only your fun, then you're just not right for the whole situation, as far as I'm concerned. You're not mature enough to be having a sexual relationship with somebody then. If you cannot simply talk to the other individual and be able to simply discuss simple things like that. It might be embarrassing, but you two are together. You realize that, right? You're together. What's so embarrassing there? I don't understand that. There's certain awkward levels, yes, but this is a form of intimacy to each other, a connection. Why would you not communicate during that same connection? You make a connection talking, you make a connection with your body. I don't understand it. Like, it just, and I was taught growing up that you always make sure she's satisfied. Always. Like, it's actually more of, like, it's worse for me mentally if I can't get you off. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel less than if I'm not able to please you. You know? So, like, we're all trying to work together here to come to the big party, so to speak. But it hurts, and I don't know if they'll like me, and if they don't like what I say, are they gonna judge me? And like, if they judge you for having just talking about kinks or something, then they're not mature enough, and you honestly shouldn't have to be in that relationship. It might be going well in other areas, but that's a sticking point. Okay? That's a real sticking point. You have to continue trying to talk about it. If they continue to rebuff, and they continue to start to get defensive and name call and blame and all this sort of thing, out. I don't need that. I don't need that. That's not mature. That's not fucking what's going on here. We're trying to have a good time. You're being obstinate, and I don't need that in my life. You know, that's just not conducive to a good relationship. That's not to say you badger someone, okay, but meaning you constantly bring it up all the time. Like, that's another thing I'll see. Men have the wear down syndrome. I'm totally guilty of doing this for a large portion of my life. So, and it sounds exactly what it is. They just constantly ask over and over until you just give in and let it happen. You know? And that's not respecting boundaries. If you say no and they bring it up again, that's not respecting boundaries. That's disrespectful, and it needs to stop. Same goes for women. Just because you have a hole does not necessarily mean that hole's so fucking great. You have to work on it too. Alright. Back to just off the diversions. What am I thinking about? The light show's pretty. I really want to have DMT. You think they'll show up here anytime soon? I really don't know. They could show up at any point. Anybody could show up at any point, and I would probably go along with them. That's the truth. I'm so desperate to escape this place and feel like I'm trapped. Because I'm it takes me so long to get mentally good. And when you're in an environment such as this where it's not conducive, I have to build the environment around me. I have to be able to, uh, get friends. I have to, somehow get money to do things and do such and such things, and it becomes time consuming. It's not easy, it's especially for me as a person that never had anybody as an actual friend. It's tough. Says the guy that's probably better friends than anybody. Not really. No, I was not in 2017. While I look good now, that does not necessarily mean I have completed my journey. There's no such thing as a completed journey to begin with. Your journey ends once you're dead, because then you become another path among the many paths. Anyways, what's eating me? Man, probably proteins. I do need to go get some Philadelphia cream cheese. I did see that it has spicy stuff and some honey roasted almond stuff. I saw that too. I don't really like almonds personally. The whole almond orchard craze that's going on in California, which is like supplementing the bee industry, but honestly, pollinating almond trees is actually kind of shit to bees. Like, they don't actually make that much from the pollen. I think there's more energy demands placed on them than what they're able to get back from the tree. So if I were to suggest doing anything, I would start combining smaller, lower level stuff to help with that. But then you wouldn't be able to just shake the tree. And I'm like, well, technically you could just do a net system, shake the tree, have it all fall into a net or some collection type of thing, and be done with it. If you really wanted to be super just like industrial about it, it's just like a clamp. It clamps over. It's a square thing. It is just metal, but they're two troughs. They just go down into whatever, and you go on to the next tree. You just shake it all about. Make sure you have a path for the truck or whatever to go through and do that. But between the path and the trees, you're going to need a diverse, and I do mean diverse, crop system. Okay, rotate crops, be able to get everything else. And it's like, well, why would I do that? I have to maintain them and do all this sort of thing. Well, it's for the bees. It really is. Also, it can be a slight side project. Technically, hemp is legal now. Hemp still needs to be pollinated. Grows pretty darn quick. Yeah, it'll be just fine underneath the trees, Sunshine State. Bees will love it. Then you got your tomatoes. Tomatoes are great. They're fairly easy to grow. And I'm not sure if they're pollinated or not, though. I'm not actually sure if hemp is either. I do know that marijuana was, but I'm not sure about hemp. I understand they're similar, so they really should be the same, right? But I don't know. But yeah, the point is that like if you're already basically watering these giant trees, then you're not. You just okay, well that's annoying. So you have to add in water costs, be able to pick the fruits and veggies, process that stuff. What are we looking at here? What's the time frame on like recuperant to profit? for initial investment? 5 years, probably. Yeah, close to 5 years, I would bet. It's just my gut feeling, but probably 5 years. Like hemp grows every 3 months if you get the machines right, you get everything right, then you can just sell the CBD oil, be able to make it into rope, clothing, soap, whatever it is. Do that with that. Sell off organically grown, free-range tomatoes, which fetch a nice price. They're free of pesticides, pollinated by bees. That's an actual selling point. Straight up, that is a marketing tool. If I saw on a label myself, this was pollinated for bee diversity or whatever, something along the lines of being bee friendly, yeah, I'd take that. Honey is fucking annoying, by the way. There's a lot of use for honey. There's a lot of people that like honey. The problem is honey is not usually what you're getting. Seriously. Like Chinese, don't buy that. It's not real honey. Chinese honey isn't real honey. It's not American honey. Some of it's Chinese honey, but it's not American honey. And no offense to China, but your air is a little bit more polluted than ours in certain areas. I don't know where you get the honey. I don't know what the rules and regulations to make your honey are. I don't know if they're stringent enough for me. I just personally trust American honey. Good old-fashioned beekeeper American honey, which that is expensive stuff. It really is. But it does usually come with good compounds that are also found in, the flowers and in the stuff that's around there. 5 years, you said? Possibly 5 years. It really, it could be sooner if you technically already have the equipment. It could be longer depending on what type of stuff you would like to do with said, what crops you would like to do and how you process them. Because tomatoes are notorious, you need kind of them to be hand-picked, but I don't know. I know that there's a lot of different farming equipment out there that can do that, but see, if you have, multiple crops that aren't necessarily all together bundled, that way you're not getting these what is it called? The mono crops, these giant sea of corn, and that's the only thing for miles. You've seen there have been studies that have shown that hamsters that are in these sunflower or cornfields will start to eat their young and other things because they need the nutrients to survive, because they're not getting it because they're so starved of other sources of energy that they're getting malnourished, and they'll do almost anything. And bees are basically the same way. They need a diverse, I imagine they would need a diverse sort of food supply to keep them healthy. That way they encounter different, types of bacterial compounds that are probably very healthy for them, because they're in flowers and everything, and they're supposed to attract, and there's more than likely a symbiotic relationship there. And of course there are probably stuff that, wants to attack it. But I digress. Bees, we're not going to live without bees. I don't care if you are afraid of getting stung. We need bees, and we're rapidly losing them. It's bad. There are a lot of little things in the science community, in the tech, or not tech, but farm and stuff like that, where the backbone, people don't realize, but the backbone of society, the food supply, runs off of these things. It's not just sun and rain and a good soil. You need bees. You need good insectoids in your fertilizer to properly be able to have soil be viable in the long term and actually good. And you need uh, we need to figure out proper pesticides that are not um, that are much more targeted instead of broad spectrum. You know, or figure out way better, more natural ways. Like it could be bacterial, it could be fungus, it could be anything. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. The point is, you got to figure out more safe things than what we are currently using to keep shit off of our crops. Because there's no way pesticides are healthy for us. Absolutely no way. I mean, you want to target a giant culprit to the whole, like, sperm being decreased? Look at fucking pesticides. Seriously, pesticides decrease sperm, I bet. It's not just sitting still. It's not just getting not enough exercise or eating right or any of this. Like, that only goes so far. You continue eating right, well, guess what? You have a higher likelihood of having higher pesticides in your body. That's not great. And you know the worst part is, that shit's over everything. Like, it's, even with baking soda and all that, it doesn't really remove everything. And you end up having the problem, if you soak it for too long, then the flavor of the baking soda and water gets leached into whatever you're eating, and it just tastes disgusting. So, yes. That is something I would also love to tackle. You know? I mean, you basically have a forest of one tree. Why not have an actual forest? You know, like, if you're planning, put it this way, like for an experiment, a good way to do this to see if it would be something you want to do for everything is if you were already starting up a new farm, or like you had a farm and you bought some new land and you were planning on putting in already fully grown trees or whatever it is, then implement like the cannabis, whatever other crop that you want to add in, system, spread them out, make sure that they have their lanes, make sure they have their spots in between, make sure that it's viable and you can sustain it through water and everything else, and yeah, see if that helps. Because technically, you're always making money on, so like you should technically, well, not always, but like for cannabis, you would technically be every 3 months, hopefully 3 to 4 months, be harvesting a crop and trying to sell that. Then there are probably other, uh, crops that are like that as well. Like every X amount of months, if you till soil, do whatever, and you plant, and you allow to grow, should technically help with that as well. And so the reason why I say 5 years is because of the possibility of continuous income, versus like almonds or if I remember correctly, they all kind of bloom at the same time and you harvest it all at once. But I'm not sure if there's stages. Which I'm sure there are. Like, they have to plant them at various stages to try and increase yield output and stuff like that. Unless it's impossible. What am I thinking? I wanted to meet one of you before I left. somebody, something. Meet who? I don't know. Just someone. There's just someone in the background that I believe deserves almost as much attention as everybody else, if not more, due to what they've done and been able to accomplish and help me with. And they don't want to take the recognition, I think. And I think that's wrong. Because, hey you. Yes, you. And yes, you on the phone. And everybody else. I fucking love you. Thank you for helping me. Seriously. Alright, there's someone. Yeah. What am I thinking? I think that person wants to come out. They're just afraid. Which I can understand. But I don't know what the time limit is for the deal I made. I don't know what's going on with any of that, truthfully. And I don't even necessarily believe that it's totally real, which is its own bag of worms. But I feel like you deserve just as much as anybody else, if not more. In my perspective. What did she do that was so great? She never gave up. Always believed in me. Yeah. No, it was more than just loyalty. It was real love. Real love underneath everything. I can feel it. I just want to go up and feel her heartbeat. Look into her eyes. Is that weird? Lots of confusing thoughts. That's to be expected. I think she has just this absolutely wonderful mind on her. She's one of the few people I've ever seen that has more of a cloudy astral plane, thing than anybody else, especially not me. What does mine look like? You can't really look at yourself without a mirror. What does your body look like? Well, that's the thing. There isn't really a body. It's not elongated or stretched. It's just, you are what you are. It's very strange because everything blends together. One's form can blend into the surroundings of it. You'd be able to miss it if it wasn't for the fact that it was blinking. still firing these synapses. Yeah. What's up? What's up with you? How's life going? Oh, girl, tell me all about your day. I want to hear about it. Because my day has been shit, and I need to hear about your shit day so we can both have shit days. Okay? It'll be fine. We're together. You destroyed Matt. Like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't really going to let him get away with that. Like, he decided to talk. I'm going to be straight with him. Be like, hey, sorry for ghosting you, but you tried to solicit my friend Sue, unwarranted, and I don't know if you apologized to her. Also, I've just been working on myself. How are you doing? Yeah, he hasn't responded back to that. I need to talk to Amber. She apparently sent me a message. Why don't you want to talk to your sister? Why don't I ever want to talk to anybody at my family? You ever wonder why? Like, it's all not hunky-dory, so to speak. There's still those residual emotions left over because I'm never able to escape this place for long enough that I'm able to become me, if that makes sense. Like, this me that you see is not me. The emotions, the traumas, the triggers, all of that slows down progress from becoming me. Like, what I can and can't do is annoyingly, basically, let's put it this way. The growth that happens when you're allowed to no longer be around these individuals as often allows you to focus more heavily upon yourself while trying to, hopefully, you think critically about your surroundings and what you're doing and your interactions in the world, and you're able to go to work, you're able to watch, people and see their body language and see their stories fold out and try and gain their perspective about how their whole life is going, or, you're on your way to work and whatever the case is, it's just, you tend to grow when you get away from that, because it's no longer as much in your identity anymore, if that makes sense. Your identity no longer keeps getting triggered over and over and over again, thus confusing you, thus changing and shaming you, trying to put blame into your mind. Right. Because when they're not around, you don't get to blame them for anything anymore. That's the first thing. You'll find that you'll blame people all the damn time in the beginning. Like, it's always their fault. It's always this. And then when you finally get rid of it, and it's almost like what I was talking about, that body dysmorphic disorder, where those people
will think like they're apart their hand or leg or whatever it is, and they need to get rid of it off their body. Just completely hack it off. Usually they freeze it. They get it so cold it's frozen, amputated, and then it gets frostbitten so bad that it has to be amputated by medical professionals, and then after that they're good. Typically they don't suffer any more body dysmorphia. They're able to live, albeit, disabled now, functioning lives. Where was I going with that? I don't remember what I was talking about earlier. Whew. Yes, I know people with dementia basically have trouble at night in the beginning, and then they can't fall asleep anymore. I can't believe the fucking lion's mane mushroom was that effective at helping everything. This Alzheimer's and everything else. The fact that, more than likely there's brain buildup, brain plaques and stuff like that that's still there. It's just that I have a neuroprotectant that's good enough that I'm able to start healing some of that inflammation and damage that occurred. But we'll see long term what happens. And definitely want to get on that Alzheimer's medication they give to patients to basically completely prevent them from suffering further damage. I'm fading fast. What do I want to talk about? Not really much of anything right now. I feel like I kind of said my piece about it. What's done is done. I'd rather just focus on trying to worry about what's coming up next. I understand everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna do this, yeah, what's gonna happen, yeah. I'm trying to come up with plans and ideas, and I'm kind of falling short. I just don't really have enough information on the political system and how things work, and, in general, social engineering, along with, psychological warfare, and so many other things that are really nuanced and definitely need to be taken into consideration if we're going to try and change more and more people, enough people, that we can really change the thing. And now, I often say I look at the right, but there are people that are guilty of very similar bullshit on the left. It's just phrased differently. but they think because it's for a good cause that it's justified. It's not. It's not justified. What am I coming over to? I don't know who said that. I don't know if you're talking about me or someone else. You know, with my eyes closed, I'm literally falling asleep here. I should sit up. Not get so comfortable. Let's listen to some music. I'll scroll around on Facebook. Do that whole jazz. You know. Do it again. Yeah, I did the speech. The speech was the speech. Why don't you want to do it again? Why don't you shush your face? It's hard to do speeches, man. It really is. Like, it drains you. I'm usually much more tired afterwards. Oh, where are we going to listen to? You know what, we're going to listen to Spotify, because I feel like it. I'm watching some sweet dumplings being made, and I'm like, dang, I'm getting hungry. Yeah. I'm just trying to see who's. You know what? We're gonna check because I'm checking top post in the hour. We're gonna sort by new. Give everybody a chance. Actually, I do, which is weird. I do like the fact that my karma has been going up recently on Reddit. I don't really get terribly upset about downvotes, though, because I know for the most part I'm usually getting downvoted by someone that's just very disagreeable. Another priest, secret recording, admitting to sex with teen. Chronically ill, PF.
I mean, it is well made. Don't know why it was made, but it is well made. I'm not gonna watch that. Right? Like, that's fine. Yeah. Well, I hope you managed to find somebody to talk to. Had some stories. Well, it's just a cuck queen. You know, see, like, I've always had weird things about that, because a cuck queen wants them to be satisfied, but apparently with another person. Like, there's different psychological aspects to it from what I've understood through anecdotal research. There are also, like, the version which isn't necessarily a cuck queen, but it's more or less that the woman is open to having other partners come in, but them only being women, or if that's just the only thing comfortable with them, and which is fine, you know. But this is the thing. You, like, to start this at all, you have to talk. And truthfully, both parties kind of already more than likely are open more than other individuals. You know, it takes time to open up someone's mind to doing that. And yeah. How so? I'm more surprised that truck isn't bottoming out with a fucking elephant on it. It's a tiny truck. What in the world? Yeah, I'm not opposed to that pan. It's not a giant cast iron skillet, and it has like a board on the bottom. You know? Like, that cast iron skillet was kind of ridiculous. It was just huge. It was too big. You know what I mean?
Is it legit? That's definitely cannabis. You know, definitely cannabis. A lot of stems in there. It doesn't look like you got much. Maybe enough for her half a bowl, quarter bowl. Fox and Friends. Really? Let's just say Ruth Bader Ginsburg is dead. How can they get away with that? That can be sued. They can if they don't release an apology for that, I would fucking sue them for defamation. Like, bitch, I'm not dead. I have work to do. Clearly, this hurt me. Or something. Why sue them? I was like, really, just because I hate Fox. I don't like them as a company. Fox News in general is like, out of all the news shows, all of them, Fox News is literally the worst. It's stupid. And it's considering all of them are controlled, practically all the small local ones are controlled by private companies that basically tell them what to say, meaning they're giant media outlets for one rich person's mind. Yeah. Wow. I don't want to try and talk. That's just how it is. This is a good song, though. What is it? It's called The Perfect High by The Chemist. Which, by the way, The Chemist are a wonderful drum and bass electronic band. Not gonna say anything about that. Just move right on. Why? Because that, I think, it might be part of something bigger. That could be wrong. What the fuck? This is not okay. Let me read this. Like, because the ads are making it difficult to read this. That's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah, I can't really. I mean, yeah, there's too much potential for the possibility of abuse. I understand what you're trying to say, but no. Last chance, huh? Favorite episode of Futurama? There are a lot. Yeah, I really actually liked a lot of the seasons they did for Comedy Central. It'd probably be in that area. Some of their first seasons weren't that amazing. They were good, but they weren't like amazing. It really took till about the third season for me to really get into it. I don't know. I definitely didn't do that, and you know it. Alright. So, what am I thinking? 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 I'm thinking about Futurama. I can't remember that many episodes. Like the big standout ones is their very last episode where Leela and Fry basically travel the world together. That's when time is stopped and then they go back in time and basically do it all over again. I really like that episode. And then of course Fry's dog episode is a fucking heart ripped out of your chest when you first see it episode. It's so painful, and I love it. There's when Leela finally meets her parents. There's when there's a couple others, but yeah. Those are your favorite. Those are the ones that seem to stand out. So I guess yes. Art can be almost anything. That's the problem. Defining art puts it into a box. Art's never meant to be placed in a box. Art is to see this box, paint all around it, stab a knife in it, and say, fuck your box. And also, then you put it on a display and then say, look at this. because what's the point of getting a girlfriend if the relationship will inevitably end? Well, first off, if they always inevitably end, then there's something going wrong with you. Second off, having the opportunity to experience love and joy even for a little bit can make you a better human being. So, what the? Yeah, there was no dodging that. What the fuck? And he drove by? That's, that's just bad. I want to see this from the beginning. I want to see how he pulls up. It doesn't seem to be going way too fast. The driver just wasn't paying attention. Pulled out, did not see that. If that had been a car, that driver would have been T-boned and more than likely severely injured. The driver is lucky it was just a motorcycle. That's what you get for not paying attention. I shouldn't say that. Please pay attention better in the future. Because, dang, when you're driving, people tend to forget you're driving something that's over a ton on average, going fast. It's going to hurt and do a lot of damage if it tries to stop suddenly. Why haven't I done anything about it? It's not like I can go up to the FBI and say, you know what, police officer, my cell phone and everything else might have been hacked, and this hacker decided to release the information over to the Republicans through the. That's not gonna fly, and there's no direct evidence of it. So. What's murder? I'm gonna stop the recording here. Yeah.